Tjena! Alla som har kört en Terrängbil 30 eller 40 vet väldigt sannolikt hur en original styrbox beter sig till växellådan alltså. Med väldigt sena utväxlingar och tämligen begränsad flexibilitet. Den här styrenheten som vi har utvecklat under en längre tid löser bland annat den problematiken samtidigt som den kan fungera exakt som originalet om så önskas. Här får du alltså betydligt mer kontroll, flexibilitet och driftsäkerhet. Själva styrboxen i sig då kopplas in precis som originalet. Det kan man säga är plug and play. Inga konstigheter med det. Och har man ingen användarenhet eller så då kommer den bete sig precis som när du kör som vanligt med din originalbox då. Men vi har ju dels som man kan få då en liten användarenhet och en större användarenhet. Och här har du även en liten skärm så man ser ju lite mer information om vad som pågår. Och sen har vi även den här lilla nödkörningsenheten då. Den är tänkt att monteras i säkringsboxen. Det är bara att skruva fast den där och det kommer ni se också lite senare i den här videon hur det ser ut. Man kopplar den bara med en vanlig sån här enkel kabel mellan styrboxen och in här då. Och här har vi ju när man kopplar in i boxen. Sen användarenheterna kopplar man bara med nätverkskabel då. Och det är inga större konstigheter med det. Har man ingen användarenhet så finns ju rent krasst även den här lilla skärmen här då. Och där kan du se vissa saker också men naturligtvis eftersom att styrboxen sitter under panelen så är det ingenting man tittar på om det inte finns något egentligt behov. Så det var bara en liten enkel genomgång här vad det är som finns. Och i resterande video kommer min tyska vän gå igenom lite mer detaljerat hur allting fungerar. Och det sker naturligtvis på engelska då.
And now in short, the operation of the small user unit. So this is the program mode switch. So OR is for original. So now you're just like in the original modus. Then you have to decide which shifting pattern you want to have. If you want to have like the special shifting pattern, which is the yellow button, or the standard shifting pattern, which is the black button or like down. So the difference is that we shift H1, H2, M2, M3 for the special pattern and H2, H1, H2, H3, M3 in the original shifting pattern. So, and depending on that you press a button while you flip the switch to special. So now we have like UD, like up and down, which is like the more manual shifting with original pattern. So that means if we go now, you see it's like it shifts very late, so it's more meant like as a manual shifting. So it does shift by its own, but it has a quite wide range. It only allows you to shift when it's like safe to shift, and it also has a function, the anti-slip function, which we have in the original controller, that if you press a brake, that it will go back to H3 and then go back to M3 if the RPM is still high enough and you press the gas pedal. So then If you want to have these more like in automatic mode, so what you do is like you keep best is to do it in neutral. You press up and down for like 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then you turn the Poti twice up, full and down. And now you will see if we go now. If we put the Poti like full, it will shift very early automatically. So if this is like too early for you, you can just put the Poti back and now it will shift fairly late. So probably something like in between is like good to go. And then you can still like manually up or downshift if necessary. That is kind of the same for the special shifting pattern. So if you go from original, press up, flip to special, now we have the special shifting pattern. Now again we will have like more like a manual mode, so it will shift very, very late, up and down. So, but we can shift like up and down like accordingly as we like to. So if we don't want to drive manual, then here is the same. Hold up and down for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Turn the Poti up and down. Like if you're not sure, like it's recommended to do it before you put back the panel, because you can read it actually from the display on the gearbox controller. And now we will set it like somewhere medium, and we will just accelerate with the special shifting pattern. Yeah. So if we turn it up now, it will shift back earlier. Yes, these are all the functions of the small user unit. So you have these 5 programs, like the 2 different shifting patterns, more like in a manual mode, more like in automatic mode. You can operate both with the up and down buttons. You can adjust in the automatic mode with the Poti, like if you would like to shift it earlier or later, and then if you hold both and you flip it to special, you're like in the emergency mode where more or less no safety function really, and where you can go with a broken gearbox selector, with a broken speed sensor, with a broken gas pedal switch, and with a broken brake switch. So that all doesn't matter much. Alright, that was a small user unit. So just like to give you like a short overview. So here, as you see, we have like the gear bar. So here we have information if a upshift or manual downshift is permitted at this time, which gear we are in, what kind of range we have inside the gear, and where we are at. Here we have the actual gear. Here we have the GPS speed. Here we have the transfer case state, so road or terrain or drive disconnect. Here we have the gear selector position. Here we have the current gearbox speed. Here we have that the CAN connection is okay. Here we have that we don't have a failure code currently. We have the Poti setting, as you can see. And the Poti setting is technically just like moving the up and down shift point. This is a blackout page, so it will not show you nothing here. So if you use the blackout lights, also make sure you have this page that you don't get disturbed by light at night, but you also will not get shown to any warning. This is just like the shift bar page where, you know, like all other information are like not shown. Here we choose which program we want to use. Here we have the output side, so here we can see which outputs are currently switched. So let's do some outputs. So so let's give it a little try. So now we have gear 1, gas pedal, torque converter will come, then gear 2. So here you can see like which outputs are currently active or not active. So the interesting thing about these is actually, or interesting to know, so if it is, this gearbox controller is checking its output, so it is highlighted when the output is active, and it is blinking if there's a mismatch between what it should be and what it is. So if you have like a broken wire and it's just switching on like your output from the outside of the gearbox controller, it will blink, as well as when the controller decided to shift first gear, but the first gear never goes high. So that you can see here right away. So what you can also do, which is of course not recommended when the engine is running, you can hold enter again. You can enter the diag mode. And now, for example, you can switch on the torque converter. So, so if I switch on the torque converter, you can see right away the torque converter goes off. If I want to have the first gear on, it switches the first gear off. So here you can just switch all outputs. Now let's say your third gear is not working and you don't want to have it like running inside the workshop and do like wild experiments. Here you just go, switch off the engine, choose a diagnostic mode where you can operate the output, switch the output on and do your measurement. As soon as you leave it, it's just going to the current operating mode and also switching the transfer case in the right position. And this is the input page. So here we have all the inputs. So if I switch like an input now, we can just see it. So for example, gear selector switch. So you see it went to drive from neutral. If I do like the S, gear 2, it goes there. So here I have like full control and see what input signal is read by the controller as well as the speed signal. Also, like if I do the drive disconnect, yes. After that, automatically switch the transfer case. So gas pedal. So here you have like all the inputs, which is also very nice for diagnostic. But it also tells you like what is wrong. It has several failure codes, which we will talk about a different time. And here we have the drive program. So if we go here, we can choose a different drive program. So we have original, which is just doing as the original controller. We have UD, which is more like a manual program. So it just uses the safety window of the gear to automatically shift, so that you cannot like destroy the engine by overturning it or by stalling it. Otherwise you have to use the up and down shift buttons to manually shift the gear. We have SS, which is the same as UD, just the difference is that we use a different shift pattern. So in the Scania normally it drives in the hydraulic gears H1, H2, H3 and then M3, and the SS pattern is H1, H2 and then M2 and M3, which just lets it drive quite a bit smoother. UDP is like a automatic program as SSP, and here it has like a automatic set shift points, not so it does shift automatically, and you can adjust the shift point with the Poti. Then we have the special, which is more like the original, where you can't interfere, so you cannot manually up and down shift, and not use a Poti, just with a different shifting pattern. This is just like just a bonbon. I don't think anybody will ever use it, but it's there. Emergency, it's a quite fun program if you have like an issue with your speed sensor. So these just go like fully manual without any interference. Let's talk about the other programs. So here we have 3 special and 3 original. So it's like again the 2 different shifting patterns using H3 or M2. S is always special, O is always original. So if we choose these 3 program, we can actually go to this page and we can choose our user. So for example now user 1 is set, and here we actually can now set up the value. So let's do that quick and let it shift very early. To enter, we hold enter, we pray yes. So now, do we want a Poti? Yes, we want a Poti. So upshift from H1 should happen quite early. So to make it like fast, you just push the up button and you can do the upshift quite to the end. You select it, we leave it where it is. Here we make it like a very quite high upshift in H2. This just doesn't make any sense, it's just like for demonstration. So in M2 we want to keep the gear as like small as possible. Here you can do like the fine setting if you really want it to the very correct frequency. So what you will see now is we will shift early to in the first gear, we will stay forever in the second gear. We will only use like a tiny bit of the second gear. Probably it will not even shift in the second gear. So to keep the shift hysteresis, we actually it's automatically adjusting the value, because otherwise it would end up like in a range where it would just jump. So you see that we have a very little first gear, a long second gear, and a very short third gear, or like M2 if we want so. So to save it, we leave the selecting menu, we hold escape, it asks us to save. Yes, we are saving it, so it's saved and sent. Now it's saved under user 1, so we go back to the main driving page and just give it a test. So here we see we have user 1 and the free program. So, let's go. Kannst du so filmen, dass du quasi das hier siehst und die Schaltbox?
Ja.
So as you could see, we only had like, as mentioned, we had like a very short, a very long first gear, a very long second gear and a very short third gear. So again, so here everybody can set it up as he likes. So he can put like any shift point to really anywhere to just adjust the vehicle to how he likes it. Like all safety limits are set, and inside the safety limits you can do whatever you want. And you can also, like if you want to use like a different user now, you can just like select it, choose a second user. You see here there's like a symbol which signalizes that you have like shift data saved here, and F2 you don't have shift data. So we'll just save this one, and it will see that also then we will have data there because it's a new box. So we enter here the Poti, so we can set off the Poti. So we just turn it on now, we will save it. Okay. We needed to change something, otherwise it's not saved. So let's change the value. Okay. I'll make it like something like more original. So okay. So Poti on and leave it saving. Yes. So now when we go back, you see you have the second star. When we go back, you see you have like the second driver selecting, and here you have like the Poti. If we switch off the Poti will just disappear. So, and one thing is, like, if you want to set the Poti to the set data, you need to turn it to 86%, which is shown by the little arrow. So with the little arrow, you know it's shifting where it is supposed to shift. If we want to shift, switch off the Poti, we go to the page, we enter it. Yes, we switch the Poti off. We save it. We go back to the main page. And here you see it disappeared. So now the Poti is technically without the... Otherwise we are going in SSP, which is a spatial shifting program with the Poti. So now, for example, we are like going uphill in M2 with 1500 RPM. Just yeah, that's it. Which is actually way nicer than the original, where you just like having a Bion 2000 RPM. Also up and down shifts still happen like automatically. So of course this is like the speed is a little bit low. So what I can do now is I can just like shift down manually, go to A3 and just shift as I like. So now we had a very early upshift, which is because the Poti is set to 18. If I just go here now and I just let it go a little bit, so you can see like how the shift points are moving. So now I'm like in M2, and the moment I turn it lower, it automatically upshifts. So here we can just like set our shift points. What we also can do is like we can go to the waypoint side and just save these waypoints. So now it is saved. So we will check it later. The arrow is showing the direction and the compass is still moving. So we are going east, and this waypoint is west with a distance of like 250 meters now. Here are just like some ordinary GPS data with altitude, distance, average speed, and back to the main page for driving. And like now you can see we are like in gear, mechanical gear 2, and we are going like with 1400 RPM. Which is like very nice driving. And especially driving in these mechanical gears at like low speeds, it's just like very nice. But since I live like in a quite hilly place, there's not really like the right setting for anybody. So we'll show you in a second the free programmable pages. But you see, you're going like through the village and without a screaming engine. We're using the engine brake with the hold function, and you can actually see the hold function in the little H in the display. So what it does normally now, it would automatically shift down in the second gear, like what I do now. So but if we have like a curvy slope down like this, where you kind of like want to avoid to brake in or to have a downshift in the corner, you can use the hold function, and then you can manually up or downshift. What happened now is I let it go out of the speed range for the second gear, so I will go back to second gear, and now if you see the curve, so usually if we go down here and I brake a little bit, we go into that it automatically shifts down from M2 to M1. With the hold function it doesn't, so I can brake and wait till the corner is passed, and now I can manually downshift, and now we go like in M1 for the engine brake to brake it down again. If I want to deactivate the hold function, I just hold both, and now it would have shifted automatically. It's good to calibrate the Poti, so you hold up and down. Now we do the Poti calibration, full left, full right, full left, full right, and it's done. So now the Poti is calibrated to the actual physical Poti. Hold is, as you've seen before, it is here. If you want to go like down a difficult slope and you want to have control about the engine brake, let's choose like a program with the original shifting pattern. So let's take UDP. Now if we go back, we see the Poti is there again, so it means we have Poti control, and this field, as you saw earlier, is also for the engine brake. So if I put D and press the engine brake, now we're in the engine brake. As soon as I put the gas pedal, it actually disappeared. So another thing is what we have here is the AS, the anti-slip. So we will just like shift up now. So if we use the brake now, you see we have the automatic downshift to a H3, like how it is in the original controller. And this is shown here. with AS. So if I brake, we have AS. If I put the gas pedal, so, and that is what is displayed here: engine, brake, and AS. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just go fast to the GPS page. So here's the speed, the distance we did. Then we have the average speed, the altitude, and we have 11 satellites talking to us. And don't be like, just to know, so GPS is only receiving, it's not sending your data anywhere because it's only a receiver. And here we have the compass, so now we are heading actually straight to south. North will stay up always, so you read the arrow. Here we have the waypoint setting, so you can save up to 10 waypoints. Here the compass is turning, you see now south is to the front, and here we have an arrow which shows us the direction to our saved waypoint. It has a distance by a bird or airplane distance, like straight, by 2.8 kilometers. This is the altitude, and this is the satellites again. So you can use it for your navigation if you want to go somewhere. To choose the next waypoint, you just press enter. Here, so here to choose your next waypoint, you just press enter. Now you have waypoint 2. If you want to save these as waypoint 2, you just hold it. And now waypoint 2 is saved. So we're like right now in waypoint 2. And if you want to go between the waypoints, you just have to go through them all, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. Yeah. If you want to delete the waypoint, like let's delete waypoint number 2 or number 1, you just hold it escape and it's deleted. Yeah, and one thing just for you to know, so if you move from road to terrain, it actually shows with a blinking that it's actually shifting. If it is only like highlighted, then it means like the speed or whatever you want to do is not good to change a transfer case gear. So then it is just highlighted. I mean, like this mostly happens in emergency mode. You know, like it doesn't allow you to change transfer case in H2. So whenever you are like in H1 and it goes and your speed is too high, you know, like or like you're in H2, it will be just like highlighted. So just for you to know. So we have like 2 emergency shiftings, one in the software and one in the hardware. So in case your gas pedal switch or your speed sensor or your gear selector failed, so we can use the emergency switch. So we choose the emergency mode program. So what it does now is that it's like a fully mechanic. So even if it is showing the speed, because the speed sensor is working, but as you see it will not do any shift. So it will only react on my inputs. What it does, it's using the original shifting pattern, and like now if I brake, it will automatically switch back to H2, but I can override it, and while holding the brake I still stay in M3 till the engine is stalling. So yeah, in case your speed sensor is broken or your gas pedal sensor is broken, that is the way to go. What the gas pedal sensor normally does, like also like if I'm standing now, I can just go like up to M3, but of course I wouldn't do that because it would stall the engine. There's not really like any safety function here, so you should know what you're doing. Yeah, you also can use the fallback gear selector. So now for example you see it's having reverse while it's still in D. So in case there would be an issue, you still have like a second option and it's still reacting on it. If your gear selector is broken, you also have the option to press up and down. Now it forces neutral, and while holding down, pressing up, now we have like forward selected. As you see, no matter what I'm doing on the gearbox selector, it's not red anymore, so it's completely ignored. So if you have a issue with your gearbox selector, then you choose forced neutral, and from there forward or backward. Also, what you can see here in emergency, the torque converter is without a gas pedal sensor or speed. It's just like activated. So if you have a broken gear selector, if you have a broken brake switch, if you have a broken gas pedal switch or a broken speed sensor, you can still go like up to F3, just like by hand shifting. Also reverse, if you want to go reverse. So if you don't have the additional cable, you need to put it on reverse to open the relay. Now hold up, press down, now it's reverse, so we can go reverse. The thing here is, it wouldn't work if the gear selector is not in neutral, because the safety relay is still activated by the gear selector outside the gearbox controller. But yeah, so that is the emergency mode. Then we have a hardwired emergency, which we can activate from the switch. So now emergency shifting is active. It tells you emergency shifting is active. So now the gearbox controller is not used as a controller anymore. So this is hardwired with relays and diodes. So it will just go forward and backward. So now if we press forward, you see we have second gear forward, torque converter under pressure. Also here, because the relay is outside of the gearbox controller, if we want to go reverse, we just go reverse. Yeah, maybe what's worth to mention, so if you're like in neutral or going reverse, it will activate the road. So in case you are stuck in terrain and you have a malfunction for whatever, it will just make sure that, you know, like while being in neutral or going reverse, it has time to shift in road, and that you have the road gear to later go forward. If we switch to forward now, you see road is deactivated, so it will not kill your fork by having a long road home. But of course it's limited to H2. Yeah. So switching it off. Now we have like the normal gearbox mode again. Just go back to normal shift program. So you can also run it from the small user unit. It has the same emergency program. So after changing, we can pause it. So same. So now we also have the emergency program on the small user unit. So from original, you hold up and down, then you go to special, and now you have the emergency mode. So same procedure. If you choose D, you can just drive without the speed sensor. So you can just upshift now through all gears, even till it stalls. Same function with the brake. So if you go to M3 and you brake, it also goes back to H3. Also here, now if we go reverse, and if we do the up-down, we have forced neutral. So now it doesn't matter where the gearbox selector actually is, so what it does. So now it's the same. We hold down for like 2 seconds, press up, go forward. Go reverse, same procedure. We need to put the gear selector in reverse for the relay. We hold up 2 seconds, press down, have reverse, can drive reverse. So, and to get your gearbox selector to get your gearbox selector working again, we need to reset the controller. And now the gearbox selector is working and we can go. If it's not an emergency anymore, we just switch back to original or whatever program we want to use, and then we can go, like in the normal automatic.